didn't take us very long after being in India, even for only a few days, the first time we were in, to realize just the absolute need. There are a lot of children that are uncared for. They're living with an aged grandparent that cannot look after them, or they're just wandering the streets abandoned.
There are some children, they don't have a place to sleep. They have a small hut. In that hut, they used to sleep on the floor, on the sand. Very dangerous situations. No parents, no food, no shelter for them to stay.
This young man, when we first met him, he lived in a tiny little house. He wasn't yet married, but he had this vision. He saw these children that were abandoned. He just said, he calls us auntie and uncle. He says, auntie and uncle, there are these children. We have to bring them in. And this is even before we had a house built for the kids. And he already was bringing in about six or seven children into his home. And I talked with him and I said, Kelvin, we don't have a home built yet. And he said, auntie, you don't understand. These kids have nowhere to go. We have to take them in. So here we go. We were able to build our first children's home. And I remember when they were putting that home together, I felt like a mama bear. I was saying, you will put screens on those windows to protect them from mosquitoes. We built them bunk beds. These children have never had beds before. Now they have warm beds to sleep in, a safe home. They've got a family. They get food every single day. They get to go to school. We've seen such incredible transformation in these kids, going from literally like wild children wandering the streets, having no hope, to all of a sudden coming into a family and being cared for. And so it's been such an incredible joy for us.
There is a lot of dangerous situations, like people abusing them, sexual abuse, child trafficking, child labor, kidnapping, and sometimes violence in the society. These children, if there is nobody is talking and sharing about their life, means they become even robbers, stealing things. These are the things happening. So because of that, we build the lighthouse and bring those children here and give them hope and come up in their life.
A couple of years ago, two little ones came into our children's home in India. Garish was about 7 years old and Lahari about 5 years old. They had just been intercepted from being sold into human trafficking.
My mother died, and my father abandoned my brother and I. One day, some bad men came and kidnapped us to try to sell us. The police came, and we were able to escape.
My mother died, and my father abandoned me when I was just 3 years old. An old man took me in and tried to care for me as he was able. I slept on the floor, and there was no food to eat each day. Every day, I was very hungry. I could not go to school and felt as though there was no hope for me. I was very sad. I felt afraid all the time. One day, a dog attacked me, and I still have a scar on my face from the attack.
My mother committed suicide, and my father abandoned me. I lived with my elderly grandmother, who was very poor. I could not go to school. I stayed in a small hut and slept on the floor. Sometimes I would get food and sometimes not. I wandered by myself as a very small child. One day, a truck ran over my foot and crushed it. My name is Somia, and I am 8 years old. I came to Lighthouse Children's Home almost 2 years ago with my younger sister. We do not have a mother or a father. I was very afraid all of the time. I slept on the floor in the small hut. I was so hungry and so afraid. When we found out about the Lighthouse Children's Home and they took us in, our life was completely changed. We were given beds to sleep in, good food every day, and we also got to go to school. We have people now to look after us and care for us. We do not know where we would be if we had not come here.
Since coming to this home, I am so happy. If I had not come here, I do not know what would have happened to me. I do not know where I would be.
Here at the Children's Home, I feel loved and cared for. They are very kind to me. I have a warm bed and food to eat. I can go to school. My fears are gone, and I feel safe and cared for.
So that is the reason we build the lighthouse, so where they can have a place to sleep and have food and study and take rest and grow up.
The problem with the widows in India, sometimes they can be quite young, and I asked one day, why would this young widow not remarry? And basically, the way that it works there is that if that widow has children, she has two choices. Often the new husband will not receive her children, and so she either has to abandon her children or she has to say no to remarriage and live in absolute poverty. Some of them try to get work out in the paddy fields, and there's often not much work at all. And they're starving, and their children are starving. We're so excited that we were been able to bring in the widows in order to look after the children, our children's home. And so here they are, they have employment, they have work, they love the work, they love working with our children love them. They have provision now to bring back to look after their own children, as well as they meet a need for us in our home, so it works for all. And so that was the beginning, and we knew that we had to participate. Now, our goal has always been to help them to become self-sustaining, but we had to start somewhere.
I have always believed that self-sustainability is a very important idea, that once people get a hold of that in the third world, it literally changes their whole environment, changes their outlook on life. They begin to look after their own needs. So to that end, we've begun a micro-enterprise project. We started the aquaponics project a couple of years ago. That's still expanding, getting to a place where it'll provide all the vegetables that they need. Typically, the vegetables that are grown in the soil in India are grown with a lot of pesticides, a lot of herbicides, and are very unhealthy. Added to that, the cost is prohibitive for most people at the lower end of the economic scale. The aquaponics system that we've designed and implemented in India is a very low-tech system, so that if anything breaks down, it's easily repaired. There are very few electronics, just with the solar panels and the electric pump, and that's it. And we've designed a modular system that can be duplicated, replicated in a variety of different locations, and we're hoping to take that into other villages.